Hello everyone. Welcome. So good to see you. I'm looking at the screen, at the gallery view, seeing all the faces and the profile photos and the names. Very glad that you could join us today. Welcome to this session of the Youth for Sustainability Dialogues. I am Mark Fonseca Rendeiro. For a minute, I didn't remember who I was. Have you ever had that kind of day? And I want to welcome you on behalf of the organizing partners, and they are the Connecting Dreams Foundation, the Global Network for Sustainable Development, Masterpiece Foundation, and Helping Hand International. So glad that you could all be here with us today. The topic, as you know, each session of Y4SD, we cover a different SDG, and today it's SDG 4. We're talking about transforming the learning experience, and we have with us a group of talented and inspiring individuals from the field of education, knowledge, learning. We have, and I'll come through them here, and then we'll meet them in detail as we go today. We have the founder of Knowledge Mountain, Aryan. Wave hello, Aryan. I'll come right back to you in a moment. We have the founder of the Forest Library Network, Gunit Sekun. Hi, Gunit. It's always funny because Zoom works based on sound, so if you wave, you don't get to be in the in the box. So your waving has to make noise, like things like that. And we're particularly pleased to have as our expert today an educationist with extensive experience in delivering life skills education for children. He is a Harvard and IIT alumni. He has also worked in policy development with governments across India, Vietnam, Nepal, Saudi Arabia, and Laos for organizations such as the World Bank, PwC, and Deloitte. He's a social entrepreneur and received fellowships from national and international organizations, and he's the author and creator of Girl Superhero comic books with Dabang Girl as the lead superhero. I'm talking about Saurabh Agarwal. Welcome to Y4SD. Hi, Saurabh. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Great to be here.
And as we go today, Saurabh, we'll, of course, be coming back to you as our panelists present, just to hear a bit on your reflection on what they're bringing. Possibly you're welcome to ask questions as well. And of course, in the second half today, I will turn it all over to you and we will listen into your experience, if that sounds okay. It's a nodding thing, right? Like, yes.
Yeah,
All right. Well, let's move right along in the program. And of course, as always, with things that happen on Zoom, we also have the chat, where if there is something as we go, if there's a question that the team can bring forward, we will. But in the meantime, let's start off with our panelist. Our first panelist is a graduate with a bachelor's in tech, and he's also the founder of the Knowledge Mountain. He's working towards improving the quality of education through the digital platform in 3 domains of education. That's research-based learning, project-based learning, and problem-based learning. He aims to achieve the SDG goals of quality education and reduced inequalities. Please welcome Aryan. Hi, Aryan.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so much, Mark. Hello.
I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me share my screen. Yeah, I hope it is perfectly visible. So yeah, let me begin. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to one and all present over here as per your time zone. Hope you all are doing super awesome. So regarding my initiative name is The Knowledge Mountain, which is basically to revolutionize the education sector. A small disclaimer for all of you. Fasten your seat belts because almost next 10 minutes will take you to a whole new world containing very exciting information about a very unique initiative. Before beginning, a brief overview about me. I am Aryan, a BTech Electronics and Communications student from YMCA Faridabad, a child scientist awardee by NCSC and DSP, also a professional numismatist, that is a currency and coin collector for almost past 10 years, nominated for Rex Karamveer Chakra Award, and obviously, I am also a Global Changemaker Fellow in Connecting Between Foundations. I'm also IEEE Brand Ambassador and founder and lead educator at the Knowledge Mountain. Before beginning, a common question to all of you. Consider the case you are provided with an opportunity to go back to your school times, not to create those memories, but to experience that raw learning experience, like like from copying mathematical questions from the blackboard to cramming those scientific concepts. How many of you would love to go to that particular environment, that raw learning environment? Type Y if you will be interested, and type no if you want some change in that education curriculum. All right. So I believe there are a couple of no floating in the chat box. That is quite amusing. All right. No, 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 no. I believe everyone wants some change. So here comes the question. Based on my previous research, I came to know that almost 60% of the people don't want to go back to that rote learning environment. This is where my initiative comes into play. Consider the situation when you yourself don't want to go back to that environment. How can you expect your children or your future generation to go back to that 12th grade or through that kindergarten to 12 education system, and that to rote learning experience? This is where the knowledge mountain comes into play. About my initiative, I'm creating an impact by revolutionizing the existing education system by introducing three different learning ideologies. They are research-based learning, problem-based learning, and project-based learning, which we will be covering very briefly in the upcoming slides. The question arises, what are these ideologies all about? If you can see this particular block or see this particular diagram in front of your screen, it displays think, idea, try, do it again, keep it doing until you finally succeed. So basically, these ideologies revolves around spatial type of learning, which involves identifying a problem, analyzing it, understanding the scientific principles involved, handling the challenges that you are facing while solving that problem, studying the practical applications if there are any, and finally cracking that problem. So basically, it is a sphere which totally revolves around analyzing that problem, particularly from a different perspective, and at the same time solving that problem while being a curious thinker or innovator. Let me give a brief, quick overview about all these three types of teachings. The very first is research-based learning. So dear participants, I hope most of you request to kindly mute everyone. Yeah. So yeah, the very first learning is research-based learning. Let me take back to your school time. There was one very famous theorem known as Pythagoras theorem, which was basically perpendicular sphere plus base square is equal to hypotenuse square. I believe most of you will be knowing that equation, but there are very few people who know how to apply it in real life, plus what is the actual derivation. The fundamental of why and how about any problem, we really don't know that thing. So the very first thing, that is research based learning, revolves around looking to the problem from a research background perspective, from a different perspective. The second is problem based learning. So problem based learning generally involves indulging students in some GDs, let's say group discussion, or some healthy debate in which they can solve the real life problem that are faced by the societies, which eventually leads to entrepreneurial develop, which ultimately leads to development of entrepreneurship mindset. Let me put forward a very simple equation or very simple problem statement. There is point A and there is point B. The distance is roughly around 10 to 15 minutes. But due to continuous traffic jam on the road, the emergency vehicles such as police van or let's say ambulance can't really move between both those points timely. Let's say ambulance is taking around 25 to 30 minutes. So this is where our students, the developing brain of our students comes into play. They, when indulge in some group discussions, when indulge in some healthy debates, they can come up with solutions such as the green corridor, which will be free all the time, and ambulance can move between both the points. So this involves problem based learning, when we learn by analyzing a problem that is faced by the society. The third thing is project based learning, that is understanding various scientific and mathematical principles from some projects. Let's say we need to understand the dispersion of light. So what our science teacher can do is he can show us the prism in the class, or you can just show us a disk. I believe most of you will be knowing that disk, the 7-color disk, which when we played with that particular disk, it transforms into white color emission. So those are a couple of examples that can be indulged in project-based learning. A very best example of all these three type of teachings. I believe my Indian fellow mates will be knowing this particular thing. There was one very famous movie named as Three Idiots. This was casted by Amir Khan. So in that particular movie, Amir Khan has focused on all the three type of teachings: research-based, project-based, and problem-based. Research-based by putting forward some amusing questions to his professor, like will this particular pen work in space or not, and some other type of questions. Problem-based learning and project-based learning are demonstrated over here in a school that was run by him afterwards, in which students were engaged in healthy discussions in order to solve societal problems. So I hope you have got my idea about three types of teachings: research-based, project-based, and problem-based. The question arises, why to follow these types of teaching? Like, what is difficulty between the current education system? The very first difficulty is you have already answered, you don't want to go back to that. The other possible solutions are they give us a different perspective to think. They help in successful and sustainable career growth. They provide us with an approach of learning. And above all, they make us a continuous worker. Keep this particular quote in your mind that theoretical knowledge makes us academically sound and intelligent. But these three different learning ideologies are overall helps in developing your enthusiasm and confidence. These are some of the glimpses of my work in which, like in the very first image, I am making people understand what to learn from a flying kite by just simply observing it. The next image revolves around learning to find directions using sun. Like how can you identify directions using a sun? The third is a snapshot of my YouTube channel. And the last is learning is fun. How you can learn dance steps and how you can mix those dance steps with that of mathematical questions. So here will be a video playing in front of you all, which will demonstrate my work briefly.
अगर आप चीज के उस पहलू को देख लिया ना, वो उसके जो बैक एंड में जो उसके हो क्या रहा है, उसके पीछे मैकेनिज्म क्या, उसके पीछे प्रिंसिपल क्या है, आपके कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं मिलने वाले। मैं एक नंबर को उसके एक बड़े से मल्टीप्लाई कर रहा हूं। इसका दूसरी भाषा में क्या मतलब हुआ कि मैं उसी नंबर का स्केयर करके उसमें उसी को जोड़। आज हम सीखेंगे आप कैसे डायरेक्शंस निकाल सकते हैं, नॉर्थ साउथ ईस्ट वेस्ट। आप कैसे डायरेक्शंस निकाल सकते हैं और किसकी हेल्प से, सूरज की हेल्प से और किसी लकड़ी के पीस, किसी रॉड, किसी डंडी, किसी स्टिक, इन सब चीजों से जो इजीली अवेलेबल होते हैं। कॉन्सेप्ट विजुअलाइजेशन का मतलब ये जो टेक्निक है, जो ट्रिक है, ये जो प्रॉपर्टी है, ये बनी कैसे होगी, इसकी एक क्विक और शॉर्ट डेरिवेशन। Another learning from a flying kite is that the string that controls the kite on the top is in the hand of little fellows on the ground. Link this with that of a corporate world. Whether you become the boss, manager, or even the CEO of an organization, your success depends upon the efforts put in by your team members and other frontline workers such as the sweepers, security guard and other co-workers. Respect them and take care of them because ऊपर वालों की डोर नीचे वालों के हाथ में होती है। देखिए, जो भी आप चीज सीखेंगे आपको नहीं पता कब वो जिंदगी में काम आ जाए, तो चलिए कुछ सीखते हैं और कुछ सिखाते हैं।
So I hope you have gotten insight about my initiative. Apologies for the fellow participants from foreign countries, like this was in regional language because of my traditional work that I do in regional language. Upcoming to the challenges that I have faced and how I have overcome them. The very first was time management, giving time to my platform while doing side hustle with my academics. Being a college student and that too in second year of a 4-year degree course, it was quite an hectic schedule to manage all my tasks accordingly. The second was lack of team. It becomes quite difficult at times to manage all the tasks, including shooting of digital content, content creation, the research behind that content, editing, and all other stuff. So it was altogether handling a one-man army. The third was lack of resources, such as setup of creating videos, appropriate lighting, and all other stuff. The one quote that kept me motivated was, dream is not that you see in sleep, but dreams are something that doesn't let you sleep. The knowledge mountain is my dream, and this particular quote always motivated me to give a second push, to give more push towards my initiative, because ultimately humanity is benefiting. Impacts that I've created so far. I have a family of about 500 people on YouTube channel as of now, and reaching about 7.2K views. The educational videos on social media, to be very specific, the Instagram has reached about 30,000 views as of now in about 1.5 months. Most satisfactory thing is that my videos are accessible to everyone, even in the remotest part of the country. So it is very unique. Like this is a very unique memory that I got from one of the southern part of India. Like in South, what people do is they totally converse in English language. So one of the person called me one day over my email, over my WhatsApp, and said that, sir, your initiative is really amazing. I was literally confused, like how he can understand, how being an English audience, he can understand Hindi. So he told me, sir, I have one of my friend who understand Hindi. I showed him the video, then he translated that video for me, and that was totally converted for me. So I was literally amazed, like people are really impacting, like I am creating an impact and people are really benefiting. Similarly, I do receive call from underprivileged children of laborers, maids, and other household workers who are not very fortunate to get quality education. I've also delivered guest talks at various other platforms and impacted their audience as well. So milestones that I'm planning to reach by this next year, reaching to about 2,500 learners digitally, also reaching to about 100 plus volunteers and training them in related aspects so that they can carry forward my legacy, giving workshops in almost 10 plus schools if the conditions remain normal. And the last is teaching at least 10,000 students by the end of this year in digital plus physical mode of education. So that was all from my side. In case of any queries, feel free to drop me an email at this particular email ID. Also, do check out my initiative, The Knowledge Mountain, which is at YouTube and Instagram. Before leaving on a very positive note, Jnanam Param Balam. Jnanam means knowledge, Param means supreme, Balam means power. That is, knowledge is the supreme power. Try to gain and share as much knowledge as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aryan.
Yeah,
That was
you.
fun and educational. I'm learning as we go along. I want to bring in Saurabh, who's also been watching and listening. Saurabh, by all means, any comment, reflection, or even a question, perhaps, for Aryan?
Oh, no, I mean, such amazing work. So congratulations, Aryan. I think you're doing amazing and fabulous work. And it is not just for students. I think in the last, you also mentioned that how other teachers, volunteers, and facilitators will benefit from it because they will be able to learn more about different ways of teaching. So this is amazing. I just want to check with you on where do you see this going, let's say 3 years from now, in terms of what vision do you see for this great initiative? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Saurabh. Thank you so much for the compliments. And regarding your question, like 3 years down the line, I really look forward to collaborate with educational institutions so that they can inculcate these teachings in our school curriculum. Let's say introduction of different type of teaching ideologies that I've already mentioned and different type of techniques. Let's say healthy discussions, GDs, and let's say developing a entrepreneurship mindset in the students. At last, what I want is our students should not only be a school pass out or a degree holder. They should be curious and innovative thinkers that can solve real societal problems. So that is where I see my initiative go.
I'm
All
curious.
the best. Yeah.
Thank you
Sorry,
so
Mark.
much.
Yeah.
No, sort of. I'm jumping in also because as I listen, so many questions and things to talk about. If I could choose one, though, I'm thinking here about especially the last year or more, really, with the pandemic. As we always say, because it's true, the pandemic has exposed a lot of gaps in society. Surely not just in India, but all over the world. Education is obviously one of those. We often refer to the digital divide. Right, and especially when things require technology and access. How is your initiative addressing that? What are you doing that helps, if perhaps, close that gap?
All right. So like your question is how I am like bridging the gap between academia and online education. Am I correct?
Yeah.
All right. So Mark, to be very honest, past 1.5 years have taught us what the next decade couldn't have. Like we have totally shifted to online mode of education. And I've seen people are more towards jumping into online education, to be very honest. I was reading one research article a few days back, and it stated that initiative like Khan Academy, MIT Open School, these initiatives have jumped over to 5 to 6 times because of this online era. Like people are more towards learning digitally. So what I believe is introduction of courses in regional languages was a must, and also keeping in point of view of foreign audience, let's say English audience and other language audience. This is what I really look forward to, like developing content for them and bridging the gap between academia and online by introduction of more courses that can train them can train them wholeheartedly and towards all perspectives.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it makes me also think about the importance, like from your story of the audience member in the South, the power of translation, whether it's
Yeah.
human, automated, combination.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Aryan. I'm going to keep it going. As always, we pack a lot of good content into our hour. Switching to our next panelist, he's a postgraduate from the Ambedkar University and belongs to an agricultural background from Uttarakhand. Guneet, he's the founder at the Forest Library Network, which, by the way, works in improving the lives of a tribal community, the Van Gujar. Amongst others. The Forest Library Network aims to improve the quality of education and encourage more community participation, create youth role models for tribal children. Please welcome Guneet Sekun. Hi, Guneet.
Hi, Mark. Hi, everyone.
Floor is yours.
I'm audible?
Yep.
Okay, then I'll quickly share my screen. I hope you all are able to see the screen.
All good.
Okay, then I'll go now. So the initiative which I run is a Forest Library Network. And I'm starting up from a brief about me. So I belong from an farming community, and I did my post-graduation in development studies. During my time of bachelor's and post-graduation, I got an opportunity to engage with children in Delhi and also work in shelter homes which are run by Delhi government. So back in time of my post-graduation, that was a time when I actually got a chance to engage with forest dwelling community, Van Gujar, and wherein I got a chance to actually spend a night with the community inside the forest. So that experience has completely changed me and turned over everything about me and how I thought my life would go. So I was so motivated that I decided that I got clarity that I have to work in the sector of education and will work for the community and work on access of education for the children in this community. So moving forward, I did fellowship in the Garhwal region of Uttarakhand, understanding how practical methods of education can be used and imparted to students. And ongoing, I'm a consultant at Samanta Foundation. And quickly about the context. So we work with forest dwelling community, namely Tongias and Van Gujars. So Tongias are basically live around the peripheries of the forest, and the Van Gujars, they live inside the forest, and a population of Van Gujars is also rehabilitated, which is outside the forest. So the Van Gujars earn their livelihood by selling milk and other byproducts, and both these communities have problem to access basic necessities, that of clean drinking water, health facilities, government schemes, and access to education is a big problem for both these communities. And basically with the both communities, the children we engage with, they are first generation learners from their community, and primarily from Van Gujar community. And yeah, and this is it. And talking about challenges which we have identified while in our experience with the community, that since the community inhabitates along river sides of the forest, so the distance to school is a big problem for the students to access the school. And the other problem which we have identified is that of very limited resources are available, which resonates to the cultural and traditional practices to the community. So a problem of contextual literature is another one that we face in the while engaging with children. Also, there are very limited youth in the community which are educated, and also those who are educated as well, as many of them have a problem of learning levels. So let's say one educated till class 8 has a very minimal articulating capabilities and so on. And moving forward to the root causes behind the challenges is that of accessibility to the learning spaces. Since community practices, one Gujjar community practices transhumance, while on migration, the access to school is none for the children, as well as because the community inhabitates inside the forest. So accessing to the schools by children, wildlife is a problem, which is an obstacle for them to access the school. The other one is that of language. Since the community speaks Gojari dialect, which is spoken, but there is no written script of it. So finding a contextual or a content which is really familiar to that of community is another challenge. And thereon, since the community inhabitates inside the forest and a lot of interaction happens inside the community, and there is a very limited, restricted exposure to them. So in that case, awareness about education and how education can add sustainability to their lives is one of the cause behind low literacy level in the community. Moving on to the solution, past in the time when Samantha was working with the communities, we identified youth from the community which had in the past or at some time been engaging with children. So we used to promote them and also requested them or collaborated with them to do library sessions in the community, whereas they used to do storytelling sessions in their local dialect. So through this, the books and the context was very familiar. We which were more of picture based. Children used to get interested, and more and more children they got pulled towards the sessions. And seeing this opportunity, we introduced learning kits to them, which had words from their mother tongue for language learning. And we strongly believe that in this whole practice, youth is one of the most important stakeholder in this, as there are limited role models in the community. So we want the youth to practice and avail opportunities which can come through education, and get and spread more and more awareness about education through youth itself. So yeah, and these are glimpses from the ground how library sessions, storytelling sessions happen, and how a forest library looks like. And thereon, if you want to know more about the initiative, you can reach me out on these links, and I'll definitely post them in the chat box. And while summing up, I remember a phrase which is usually said by people in the community and basically the youth. So it will be in Gojri dialect. I'll definitely change it for you guys. So it says, "Jikar tam lok mere naal jude hai, te ukkan piche shiksha karan hai. Jikkan aj shiksha thonu loka nu ਗੁਜਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਆਇਆ, ਤੇ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਗੁੱਜਰ ਲੋਕ ਜਾਣ ਕੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਤੇ ਕਾਮਯਾਬ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ." So it says that one youth said that because of Siksha, you guys have reached out till here. You read about us somewhere through any other means you reached out to us. So through education, we want the children from the community to read and also, do great for the community. So that was a short message from the youth which work with us. So that's all about Forest Library Network in short. Yes.
Thank you, Guneet. Very, very interesting and interesting to read and see about the initiative. I'll invite Saurabh, who's also been following along. Comments, questions, Saurabh, by all means.
No, I think another great initiative. Congratulations, Guneet. Wonderful work, especially in the times of pandemic where there is so much learning loss, like you mentioned. I think initiatives like these can have tremendous impact. My only thing I was wondering was that going forward, are you also planning to engage with the community to ensure that this initiative can grow stronger in some form? Yeah.
Yes, certainly, Saurabh. We did definitely try to engage with community, and since we also believe that women are primary stakeholders in in improving access and as well as sending the child or the child to reach to the school. So we engage with the women regularly and spread more awareness and try to draw a linkage in the sense that how education is important and how education can help the child to grow.
Congratulations and all the best. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Saurabh, and thank you, Guneet. Thank you so much. And by all means, if we have time at the end of today's session, maybe people in the chat who are very enthusiastically responding to all the things they're learning today, they can present another question. I want to mention before we move on to the big part of our program, the SDG quiz is now open, and you'll be catching the link in the chat. Test your knowledge, or maybe test isn't the word. Enjoy seeing what you know. I want to now bring our expert for today. Saurabh, you've been kind enough to give comments and reflection to our panelists. But now I'm very much looking forward to passing it to you to hear about your experience and listen to you. So by all means, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mark. No, I think after these two wonderful presentations, my request would be if we can open the floor for question answers, and maybe in the end, if there is time left, I would like to definitely share. But I think there is just so much to absorb and so much high quality work being done by both Aryan and Guneet that if others want to pitch in and share their reflections on the work, I think that would be amazing. What say?
Yeah, can certainly open it up, and especially to our panel who are with us. Aryan and Guneet, you're welcome to come on back and to continue this discussion of these initiatives. I was thinking especially, Saurabh, about your last question to Guneet about going forward and the future, even the near future, right? How these initiatives carry on. I think a lot of our questions have revolved around that element. I think that's, for me anyway, one of the bigger questions, right? How to go forward, and we've addressed it in some ways, but it's always that lingering question in the air.
Yes, certainly, Mark. That's an important question because everybody, wherein we engage with youth and everybody, children as well as so about the future, it's an important question. I think particularly in my answering about my initiative, so we aim to collaborate with the nearest One Vidyalaya or the forest schools, and currently we have been in contact with 2 of them. And since the schools are shut, after that we aim, since this education system resumes, we will definitely come forward and get more and more libraries opened in the schools which are near to the forest, as well as in the One Vidyalayas or the forest schools.
Thank you, Guneet. Yeah. And Saurabh, on this issue of sustainability when it comes to just keeping an initiative going, making sure that the future is as bright as some of these key moments in the present and recent past have been. How do you, in your work, pursue this?
Oh, that's a very good question, Mark. And I think, yeah, it's difficult for all of us, especially during the pandemic. I mean, all of us used to do a lot of planning, but now I think one thing that this pandemic has taught all of us is to also appreciate the present, realize the importance of where we are today. And then also, I think it has brought in more the feeling of community in terms of helping each other. And that is what during the uncertain future will be a crucial component for us to work together. So for example, if Guneet and Aryan were to ask this community, the number of panelists or people who are listening to them today, if they were to ask for one help on how can we together support their initiative, it would be interesting to see how can we support you. So if you were to share with us one question, what would that be?
Yeah. And I think if as people are thinking, if they want to type it in the chat, or even we can unmute them, but by all means, one question. Yeah, that is, it always starts with that.
So over to Aryan or Guneet, if you want to have a
Yeah,
request
sure.
from all of us. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Thank you so much, Saurabh. So like your initiative, I was going for initiative named as Dabangal, and it is like quite interesting and quite unique. Like I haven't seen any such initiative in the market. So according to your own personal perspective and your own personal experiences, your initiative is focused toward women empowerment somehow. So as per your own experiences, where do we see women in the next 5 to 6 years, and specifically education domain? Like what difficulties and what challenges have you faced in this COVID-19 scenario, and how you expect that our women will be shaped, or particularly our underprivileged society will be shaped according to the educational reforms that we are talking about?
Thank you, Aryan. I was hoping to ask if how can we support in your initiative, but
right.
thank you for bringing Dabangal up. Just for everyone's ease, I will just explain. So I write comic book stories with Dabangal, a girl superhero. In Indian context, there are a lot of male superheroes that are there, and Dabangal is a girl who empowers or gives confidence to young girls, and also makes young boys comfortable with confident girls around them. The idea is to break gender stereotypes, and at the same time build that self-agency in children, to be able to ask the right questions, be curious, and find solutions to the problems that exist. So yeah, and coming to your question, Aryan, it's very difficult to say. Ideally, I would like to say, and gender equality should have been achieved like yesterday, and none of us know, all of us agree that it should be there, but in every facet, even if you go to a market, you will see how gender stereotypes are there, gender discrimination is there, and it is something that all of us have to work together. Yeah. So again, I will rephrase, ask my question again. If all of us have to work together to support your initiative, let's say the Knowledge Mountain, how can we help you? Apart from subscribing and signing up, that we'll do definitely. But other than that, because I think it steps, like Mark said, it starts with one single step of us coming together and supporting you. So yeah.
All right, sure. Like regarding the challenges that I'm facing currently, I would really appreciate if my audience come up with some suggestions for the next videos. Like what I'm currently doing is I'm currently putting out the content of STEM research domain. But what I found is most of the audience also want some different type of content. So I would really appreciate if my audience could come up with more content that they want to see. And the second challenge that I'm currently facing is how to keep up a team, like how to build a team from scratch. Like currently, I'm only a single person in my team, along with my sister who helps me while shooting and content creation. So how to onboard different people in our team, and like how to go forward while putting our organization to a public sector unit. So that are a couple of queries that I would like to ask for.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for sharing.
those are quite important ones, Aaron. And like
Yeah.
building up a team and having a team basically to support you in tough times as well as in your daily work is very important. Looking on to me, what I would ask from people here is that a very simple thing, not much. It's not that heavy also. Um, it's about spreading the word about the community, about whom we work. So a lot of time we have a word with the people, and a lot of people are knowing about the One Gujar community for the first time. And it's today, as I am presenting and I'm speaking for the community. Maybe in the upcoming time when people spread the word and there is a lot of collaboration, support coming up for the community. So I would want, instead of me, a person from community itself speaking for themselves. So it's only possible if you guys out there spread the word out and talk about it, that there is a community. I've mentioned a lot of challenges, and definitely there are a lot more that I've missed upon. I would want everybody to just like talk about it. Like, yes, there are One Gujas also. There are somewhere there, and they need your support. Yeah, that would be mine from my end.
Such a noble thought. Mark, over to you. And if just on the team element, Mark, if you think it's okay, we also have Amit Tuteja here, who has built a lot of work around community and team building. And so maybe we can invite him also to share his words of wisdom. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Saurabh, and thanks, Mark, for wonderfully hosting it as always. So it has been a wonderful session. We have gone to the journey to the mountain with Aryan, and we've also gone seeing the libraries in the forest with Guneet. And it's been different kind of models, but I think both the models are working towards bridging that gap. And that's what this journey is all about, that because both the models are very unique in terms of the users. And I think that's what is very important. We can't have a standardized model in this world. We need to have or innovate models which can actually serve the needs of that particular community, be it the knowledge that they already have. If that can be passed on to the next generation in an innovative way, that is another challenge that we are looking at, because that's where also we are missing out a lot of information and a lot of knowledge which never comes out. Guneet has shared that before with us quite a lot of times, but that's another thing we are looking at. But I think whatever all these initiatives are coming in slowly and slowly, and people are now recognizing it is not just the education curriculum or the assessment part, but the pedagogy is something that is coming in the front now. COVID has taught us that even in times of such stress, people can come out with innovative models where education can reach to the masses through only online mediums. So technology will play a crucial role as we move forward, and many more innovations have to be done. But I think we now have to move forward and see that what kind of education is needed for people. Is it the standardized education that we've been going through over the last, say, like 100, 200 years, or it has to be modified into a way where there can be standardized models which are needed to make people empowered to an extent, and then let people explore what they want to understand. Because this online thing has, I think, brought all the academic institutions of the world to our reach. A person from any part of India or Africa can study sessions in Stanford or Berkeley, which people would not have thought of before. That's possible. So that's another kind of collaborations we are looking for, we're looking at. And as I think Aryan said, this is the world where nothing can be achieved without collaboration. COVID has taught us that. And again, I'm again taking the name of COVID because before COVID and after COVID, it has been a very different kind of, I'll say, learning experiences we have gone through. And we've seen that in these challenging times, how can you innovate, and how can you see solving problems in a very different way with a different mindset, which you would not have thought of before. So those things are happening. I think we're going in the right direction. New things will come up, new initiatives will come out. People like RM and Bhumi are doing wonderful work, and there are many more. I think we need to spread that message. We need to identify the right audience who need the right skills and the right tools to grow. I think if we can identify the right audience, half of the work will be done. We have a lot of people and change makers across the world who can provide them the right tools. I think that's what we are looking at moving forward. This is from me, and thanks a lot, Saurabh, again for joining in. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you, Amit. Thank you so much. Yeah, and it makes me think of so many things. Amit's comments regarding reaching more people, or reaching, we sometimes say, the masses. And Saurabh, you were describing the fact that in mainstream world, superheroes are so important, for example, but they're often men. So let's have then female superheroes, because that's one of the things that in mainstream society people look up to. It's so consumed, it's so appealing. And then, Aryan also with the use of video for teaching, but also playfulness in the video. This is all part of reaching people. But what's very interesting, and you've all given some examples, is the audience, right? Here in this session in Zoom, we get comments from the audience that may simply be support, but it may also be, I have an idea, as you've been inviting, Saurabh, ask the question, or perhaps how could we help? And it is something very fascinating with how an audience becomes not just, a one-way conversation, but they become part of your process, potentially part of your team. If you're thinking, I need more people, I can't do this alone, especially over time. That's the hardest thing. So, yeah, I was just thinking about that role where the audience becomes the community, and at some point the community, or some members, could become the team. But it is a process, and that process is it's a challenge, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark, I would like to take your question forward and would like to ask Saurabh a very small question. Like Saurabh, you have built your initiative from the very foundations. Like you have built your initiative, the Bungles, from very scratch. So like me and all my fellow mates have a couple of queries generally. The very first query is, what challenges have you faced so that we can learn from them? And the second question is how to reach out to stakeholders. Let's say in my case, the stakeholders are other educators, other teachers, other students. In Guneet's initiative, the stakeholders are forest authorities, forest families, and all other people. So what tips would you like to give us to reaching out to stakeholders? So that was a question.
Thank you, Aryan. And I wish there was a easy answer to this. It is always the same, right? You're trying to reach more people. All of us, I think, want to take our initiative to more people. It's same for me, same for you. It is, again, the challenge that you mentioned of team is always there. Whether you're a 1-person team, you're a 10-people team, you're a 50-people team, the team management challenges are again there. And like I think Mark and Amit mentioned, it is all about bringing in that creativity and adapting your model to what will fit for your model the best. Even between you and Guneet, I think both the scalability models, the team building models, the stakeholder engagement models will be very different. So you need to see what will fit you the best. And for reaching out to stakeholder or building partnerships, one thing I've realized is that just ask. You ask 50 people, 100 people, trust me, there are a lot of good people on this planet who are willing to come forward and support. Sometimes I have seen a lot of people just shoot those emails, go to events, speak to people, and you will be able to get that one person who will help you reach the next level. Then you will be able to find those 2 people who will help you reach further, right? So I think asking is a very important aspect. And I think a lot of times in Indian culture, while growing up, I don't know about others, but some of us, I'm sure, were a little hesitant to ask questions because sometimes you were afraid of the teacher, sometimes you were afraid of parents or some other guardian, right? And that and as you grow up and as you become a social entrepreneur or a social change agent, you realize that you have to put yourself out there. You have to ask questions. You have to be curious. One life, you don't never know what that conversation can lead to. And the reason I said, if the audience, in which Mark I think beautifully summed up, if the audience today here can be a part of your community in helping you support this, because I remember in each and every talk or such event that I used to go to, I used to ask for help. And you won't believe that at least after one person used to definitely come forward and help, and that used to add to the work you are doing, right? So it definitely, yeah. So I'm sorry for the long answer.
Oh, yeah, wonderful
so much,
answer.
Saurabh.
Yeah, it's it's that thing of asking. It's something so simple, but it's not that simple always. And depending on where you are in your life and in the moment, it may not be something you want to do, or maybe there's some fear. So asking, that's one thing I'm going to take home from today. I see that the hour is at a close. I want to say a big thank you to everybody, starting with our panel, Aryan and Gunit. Thanks so much for all your work and for presenting it here. I also, of course, Saurabh, I want to say thank you. It's been fun to have you throughout the session and this interaction that we've had. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, I want to thank the whole team, including Amit Tuteja, who you joined today, and it was good to hear from you and to see you, and it fit right in, I think, in the session. So thank you so much for that. And of course, the whole core team of Y4SD on vacation today, Art Boss, but always with us in spirit. And Dr. Sapna Narul, Simi Mishra, Dr. Ashima Mathur, Arshvir, thank you, Priya, Dhruv, Valentine, Vasu, Vibhav, and Ashna for putting these sessions together, all the behind the scenes stuff. Thanks so much, everyone. And to all of you in the audience, as we said, you could one day be more than audience members. You're a community. So thanks so much for being with us. It's a key part of this process. I'll mention, of course, on Facebook, Connecting Dreams Foundation, the hashtag Y4SD always lives on, and there'll be discussions and information about both this session and future sessions. I think that about covers it. Thanks so much, everyone. If you were all in the same room, we would hear the crowd cheering something like this, or maybe it would be a bigger crowd. They'd do that. Maybe they'd be really loud. See you next time.